Shut your eyes. All of you, shut your eyes!
It's been over a year since the season 1 finale of Silo, but the Apple TV Plus Sci-Fi series is finally making its return with a 10-episode season 2. So ScreenRant is going to upload everything you need to know about Silo right into your brain. Based on Hugh Howey's book series, which began its life in 2011 as a self-published novella on Amazon, Season 1 of Silo premiered in May of 2023, with Rebecca Ferguson of Mission Impossible and Dune fame in the lead role. Silo became a critical and audience hit. It was even renewed for another season midway through Season 1, a nice surprise in the current climate of fickle cancellations by streamers. Silo takes place in a dystopian future that finds thousands of people living underground in a massive cylindrical-shaped bunker consisting of 144 levels and no elevators. The residents are not allowed to leave the silo and are heavily controlled by the powers that be. They're also fed a false history of what led to civilization moving underground, along with the suppression of pre-silo technology. If residents step out of line, they're banished outside and forced to clean. To clean means to exit the silo and wipe off the cameras that show off the supposedly apocalyptic world to silo citizens. Outfitted with a hazmat-type suit, silo residents that are sent to clean only survive for a few minutes in the wasteland. It's a death sentence for the greater silo good. Ferguson stars as Juliette Nichols, silo engineer turned sheriff. She inherits the law enforcement role from the former Sheriff Holston, played by David Oyelowo, and his wife Allison, played by Rashida Jones, have both been sent to clean. Juliette's Season 1 journey finds her questioning the past and trying to find out what really sent people underground, along with discovering the truth about life, or lack thereof, outside the silo. Tim Robbins plays Bernard Holland, an IT bigwig that rises through the ranks of silo power and becomes a major and potentially deadly thorn in Juliette's side. Common plays silo enforcer Robert Sims. In the final episode of Season 1, Juliette tries to broadcast Silo secrets, exposing them to the underground masses, but is caught by Bernard. He actually spills his guts to her, revealing all that he knows, which isn't a lot, about the Silo and the outside world's true history. But fearing that Juliette's own discovered truths could start a rebellion, she's sent outside to clean. Just like what Holston saw when he was sent outside to clean in episode 1, Juliette sees a green, lush, non-toxic world through her suit's helmet. But while Holston quickly dies, Juliette doesn't, thanks to industrial heat tape that was used to reinforce her suit. Holston's suit and the suits of others are meant to fail, and Juliette knows that. Refusing to clean and leaving the view of the camera, Juliette's picture-perfect outside world begins turning into a wasteland. The same wasteland that can be seen on cafeteria screens in the silo. The sunny, optimistic view of the outside world seen by Holston and initially by Juliette is just a VR mirage, one meant to bring a bit of hope and enthusiasm for cleaning, when certain death is mere minutes away. In the final reveal of Season 1, we see crater upon crater dotting the barren landscape, each with their own silo entrance. With Juliette being banished to the outside world in the final moments of Season 1, Season 2 looks to turn her into something Bernard wants to avoid, a martyr and a symbol of rebellion. In a Season 2 promo, a revolution or an outright war seems to be brewing, taking aim at Bernard's leadership and his lies.
Be reminded that here is safe, and there is not.
Season 2 might also introduce powers greater than Bernard. He might just be a puppet, albeit a powerful one, being manipulated by the hidden higher forces. The initials JL, Juliette Lives, are being used all over Silo as the symbol of remembrance for Juliette's legacy, a legacy of truth in her death. Season 2 will most likely divide its time between Juliette's quest for further truth and her fight for survival in the outside world and the uprising in the silo. Sending Juliette outside broadens the scope of the show and expands her journey. It should help prevent claustrophobic storytelling in more ways than one. According to the Wool books, there are 50 silos in total. That's some major material that can be mined. Juliette will most likely discover and enter another silo on her journey, along with coming across other surface or silo survivors. By the end of season 2, there is a strong chance Juliette will end up back in her silo, either by the front door she left from or via a secret passage from a neighboring silo. While very little is revealed in season 1 regarding the cause of the surface's destruction and why the silos were built and who built them, expect more of those answers to come to the forefront in season 2 and beyond. But hopefully we don't have to wait too long for answers. According to showrunner Graham Yost, in a recent interview with SFX magazine, he says, "It's our goal to answer questions and not frustrate the audience, but deliver things in a logical time. So when our characters find something out, that's when the audience finds out." Luckily, the 3-book source material contains plenty of content and intrigue for future seasons. Season 1 only partially adapts the first book. Season 2 will tackle the rest of it. If that trend stands, the series might cap out at 6 seasons. While Silo is still a relative newcomer on TV, Yost doesn't want the series to overstay its welcome. He says, "We've got plans for how the series would play out if we get to do the whole thing. Between me and my friends at Apple TV Plus, this is not a long science fiction series. It's a trilogy. We're not going to extend it beyond that. That doesn't mean it's going to be 3 seasons, but it's not going to be 10. Utilizing a large amount of flashbacks in season 1, it will be interesting to see how the second book in the series is adapted. It begins as a prequel in 2049, chronicling the birth of the silos, and spans hundreds of years, all the way to Juliette's time. Perhaps this and the final book will play out concurrently via flashback scenes and present-day scenes over the course of multiple future seasons. Maybe the prequel storylines could be featured as early as season 2. Yost has stayed fairly faithful to the source material, and playing with timelines wouldn't necessarily dilute his effort. Whatever creative decisions are made in future seasons, our fingers are crossed that Yost gets to complete his overall vision before a dreaded early cancellation comes. While the first season of Silo has remained relatively faithful to the book, Yost and his creative team did make a few significant changes. One of them being quite noticeable. A mysterious illness called the Syndrome is introduced in season 1. It's a malady of pure imagination. It is never featured in the trilogy of books. Caused by some sort of silo-based infection or even a mental health issue, the Syndrome was created by Yost and book author Howey to illustrate the pressure and side effects of living underground, in isolation, without sunlight. A sign can be seen in season 1 stating the side effects of the syndrome. It reads, "Involuntary twitching is the first sign, leading quickly to shaking of the extremities, flashes of pain, and muscle spasms are next. Balance and movement is severely impaired. If untreated, infection will attack the brain, resulting in reduced cognitive function and finally a shutdown of the entire nervous system. Clean living is the real safeguard." The syndrome will surely be explored further in season 2, especially since Chinsen Uche's deputy Paul Billings suffers from it. And in the world of Silo, no one suffering from the syndrome is allowed to hold a position of power. Returning to Apple TV Plus on November 15, 2024, Silo Season 2's 10-episode run will conclude on January 17, 2025. Ferguson returns as Juliette, along with Robbins as Bernard. Season 2 also sees Common reprise his role as Sims, along with the return of Avi Nash as Lucas, Chinsa Uche as Paul Billings, and Harriet Walter as Martha. Joining the cast of the new season in a mystery role, perhaps as a surface survivor or neighboring Silo resident, is Steve Zahn, seen recently in The White Lotus Season 1. So which direction do you think Season 2 of Silo is heading? Thank you for watching ScreenRant and stay tuned for more streaming news.